Hi, my name is Erica Neal. I'm a psychotherapist and mind-body teacher in Northern Virginia. I specialize in teaching people self-help skills to regulate their emotions and cultivate positive emotional states. Most of my techniques are mind-body oriented, so I thought it would be helpful to guide you in a sitting meditation today. This sitting meditation is based on the tradition of mindfulness-based stress reduction taught by Jon Kabat-Zinn, and his background is in Buddhism, so it has a lot of Buddhist flavor to it, but it's basically a secular practice. So to start with, I invite you to sit in a way that's comfortable for you, either in a chair or on a cushion where your spine can be fairly tall. Some of the practices we're going to do today you can do while you're lying down, but for the point of this exercise, I recommend that you do sit if you can. So if you're sitting on a chair, you could choose to sit back like I am doing, or you could choose to sit more towards the front so that your spine is more straight. Either one is fine with me. And if you're sitting on a chair, just feel your feet planted on the ground. Feel your sit bones pressing against the bottom of the chair. And then notice that your spine is long and that your head can be lifted. The idea of the posture is ideally that your spine is really long and tall, but your muscles around the spine can really relax and not strain themselves. And if you're sitting on the cushion, just noticing that your sit bones are driving downwards and that your spine is tall and your head is lifted. You can place your hands, you can cross your hands if you like, or you can place them on your lap, whichever is more comfortable for you. And if you need to move your hands, that's fine, or make any adjustment for that matter. Just notice how you feel before you move, while you're moving, and when you're finished moving, and let that be part of your mindfulness practice. I invite you to close your eyes or gaze downward if you can, simply because we're not taking in any visual information when we meditate. It's mostly an inner experience of other senses. And to begin with, what I'm going to do is guide you in relaxing the body, because having a relaxed body makes it much easier to relax the mind. So I invite you to relax your feet and let them really drop into the ground, to relax your ankles and your calf muscles, to let your knees unwind and be loose, to let your thighs drop into the cushion or chair, to let your pelvis drop down as well on your bottom, to let your belly soften, to open your rib cage and your chest, to relax the muscles of your lower back, middle back, and upper back, to let your shoulders be broad and low, and sense the heaviness of your arms. Feel the weight of your hands. Noticing the length of your neck, that your jaw can relax, feeling the softness of your cheeks and your eyes, smoothing your forehead, relaxing your scalp, and relaxing your mind. And noticing if any tension remains, that you can drop it down to the ground so that your body is feeling very relaxed and your mind can relax as well. And from this relaxed state, allow your awareness to focus on the sensation of breathing, noticing where you feel the breath in your body, whether it's low in your belly or some other place higher up. And seeing if you can really get familiar and intimate with the breath, really feeling the breath, feeling how the body inhales and feeling how it exhales. Noticing how full the breath is or how shallow. Noticing how long or short the breath is. Noticing if it's easy or difficult. Noticing how regular and steady the breath is, how whatever's happening around you, the breath is fairly predictable, and that you can center yourself in that regularity. And when the mind wanders, as it does with thought, you simply notice that the mind has wandered to thought. You choose to let go of the thought, relax the mind, and come back to the breath. And it's natural for this to happen a lot, because that's what the mind does. And so this is ample practice for us to be very kind and non-judgmental to ourselves, that whenever we notice this happening, it's an occasion to just gently let go of the thought, relax the mind, and come back to the breath, to make it easy and unencumbered. And we could spend a long time just focusing on the concentration practice of noticing the breath. But I invite you now to expand your awareness from the breath and let the breath be the anchor as you notice your body as a whole. And seeing how much of your body you can really notice, all the way from your organs out to your skin, all the way from your feet up to your head. Seeing how much of your body you can reside in and occupy. Seeing how alive you can be in your body. You might notice the use of your skeleton and your posture as you're sitting here, sensing how your bones align in order to sit. You might notice what muscles are engaged to keep you sitting, which muscles are activated and which muscles are more passive. You might notice how your skin feels as it contacts other skin or your clothing or the air. You might notice any parts of your body that feel tense or uncomfortable, and you could breathe awareness into those areas and exhale openness and spaciousness. This is a nice practice of breathing in awareness and breathing out spaciousness to these areas and love. You might notice your body as a whole, or you might notice particular places like your feet and your hands and your cheeks. Any of these body awareness practices are good. And the breath is in the background as you're noticing your body. And now you can expand your awareness to include not only your body, but also the sounds around you, letting your ears be very receptive and open, like giant antennae, for any sounds around you, any sounds near or far, being very receptive and open and interested. And you might have a lot of silence around you too, and just having that open interest in the silence as well, in the space between sound. And as you're hearing the sounds, you might notice the pitch and the volume and the rhythm of these sounds. Being very open and receptive to sound, very interested, as you also notice your body, as you're aware of layers of experience, including your breath, your body, and sound. And you can add into this mix, if you'd like, any air currents around you and any smells around you. Noticing the space around you, sensing the space around you. And finally, you might also notice the quality of your mind. If your mind feels relaxed or tense, or if it feels like it's still or it's producing a lot of thought, if it's producing the same kind of thoughts or many different thoughts, or if it's relatively quiet and inactive. And you might notice if you do have a certain kind of thought, what kind of type of thought is it? Is it a judgment or a worry or a plan? And then having labeled the thought like that, you can release the thought and relax the mind and come back right now to your felt experience, starting with the breath and then adding the body and your senses. The senses of sound and smell and touch. And so this is the practice. We sit here noticing what arises in our experience, taking this seat of awareness. And whenever the mind wanders, which it does because that's what it's the nature of it to do, we gently notice, relax the mind, release the thought, and come back to our felt experience, beginning with the breath and expanding to the body and our senses. And as we sit here doing this and you're listening to me, you're noticing my voice in the context of other sounds around you and the context of the felt sense of sitting, and noticing other sensory inputs like air currents. You're just noticing. And every time the mind wanders is a chance to practice easy, non-judgmental redirection, letting go of thinking when you don't want to be thinking, relaxing the mind and coming back to the present moment. And as I'm talking, you're noticing my voice in the context of your felt experience. And it's a reminder that this is a practice we can carry through our day when we notice we're thinking about things that are not productive to be thinking about, or maybe it's not the right time to be thinking about it, that we can choose to relax and let go of thinking, and we can choose to focus more on what's happening in and around us. And that this is really the intention of meditation, is to train our mind to direct our awareness where we'd like to. So as I'm talking, you're continuing this meditative practice, just listening to my voice in the context of your overall experience. And it's a reminder when we practice as well that it's very healthy to tune into your felt sense. It's very healthy to tune into your breath and the way that your body feels so that you're caring for it better. It's very healthy to tune into sounds around you, to your environment. It's part of good self-care to attend to the felt sense and sensations of the body and not just be occupied with the mind all the time. So this is the basic practice. We relax the body from the feet to the head and then the mind. We drop any remaining tension. We then put our awareness to our breath. We expand from the breath to include the body as a whole. We add in the element of sound and then the air current or smell. We notice the quality of our mind. We notice if we have certain kinds of thoughts, and we might label them before we release them. And then we come back to this felt sense of everything at once, taking in the entirety of our experience, sometimes zoning in on certain aspects, like a certain feeling in our body, a certain sound, a certain air current, and sometimes noticing more of it in a general way. And all of these are fine. They're all aspects of training the mind to be more present to what's happening in the moment. And when the thought arises, we treat it gently and release it easily. And all of this practice is because it helps us in our daily life to focus our mind how we'd like to throughout the day, to be easy on our minds and our bodies and not consume ourselves with thoughts that are disturbing when we don't need to be able to release them and come back and attune to ourselves and care for ourselves by noticing our breath and our body and our sense experience. So I invite you to continue this practice if you would like. And I invite you as well to check on my website if you would like to find more resources. It's available at ericandneil.com. Thank you very much.